quite different for everybody who's got type 1 diabetes, but generally speaking, the ones that I find that I have as a warning sign that I'm becoming hypo are that I start to become quite shaky, quite trembly. If you can imagine, just kind of, if I was to hold my hand up, my hand would be kind of tremoring like that. Also, my vision becomes really blurry, and I find, not that I feel drunk, but it's very disorientating. Everything becomes an awful lot louder, and there's more kind of pressure. So being in a crowd or something like that, I would find very stressful when I'm having a hypo. I also feel really weak and like my muscles aren't working properly, that my mind is telling them to do something, but they're really slow and lethargic and kind of slow to react, really. So here are my top tips in terms of not just managing hypos, because I mean this isn't about prescribing, this isn't a medical video. These are just the things that I personally find handy in terms of managing my diabetes and my hypos. So the first thing is always blood glucose testing. Whether I'm doing sport or whether I'm kind of day-to-day activities, regular testing is really important. So here we've got the Dario smart meter, which is a really handy way of blood glucose testing because it's got the finger pricker and the strips and also a little device to hook onto your mobile phone device in order to be able to kind of get all of these items that you need to do a blood glucose test in one area. So then the Dario can also hook up, as I said, to your smartphone, and I've pulled up a time when I've used it when I've been about to have a hypo, and you'll notice just at the bottom here, what's really clever about the Dario app is that you can mail, message or Facebook your blood glucose reading to somebody, and you can also include your GPS location to send to those emergency contacts. So say you were out running on your own, say you were somewhere that you didn't know, you'd be able to tell somebody, your emergency contact, your partner, your parents, what was going on with your blood glucose readings, which is really clever actually. So the other thing that I find really helpful is to always have a supply either of a sugary drink or dextrose tablets or fast-acting sugars, because I think I'm quite an independent person and I don't like to trust the situation or the location. I don't like to trust that somebody else will have the sugary things that I need to get my blood glucose levels back up to a safe place. The other tips that I would also kind of convey, if you're out with a group of people, you're out with your friends or your family, making them aware of what your hypo symptoms are. So I've explained to you what mine are, but yours might vary. Other people say that they get very dizzy, other people say that they get headaches. And if you've got somebody else looking after you, looking out for those symptoms, well, that's got to be a lot more helpful, because having a hypo can be really disorientating, and sometimes you're just not aware that you're actually having a hypo, which of course is important to test then. So these are just a couple of my top tips with regards to hypos, but I hope that you manage to stay safe and hypo-free.